pitcher. A pitcher.
Baseball.
Wait a minute, start, tell us again about that course you took.
I took the Dale Carnegie course. Taught me how to talk. Taught me how to talk like a real lady. Silva, move your bloomin' arse. Anyway, where was I?
You were a pitcher.
I was a pitcher.
We were hoping you weren't in Linfield.
It's a turning point in my life. I was a pitcher.
Fifth grade.
Or you could sit in front of it.
Wasn't in fifth grade.
Baseball.
Wasn't it
pitcher.
maybe
You were younger. Yeah.
fourth grade?
I was your pitching coach. That's why
And
you
I ended up, the team made the playoffs, and I ended up quitting
Yeah, you did.
because I was playing badminton with Peter Anastasia across the hedges, and I always regretted doing that. And the lesson it taught me was, you know, before you quit something, think twice. That was a turning point in my life, and since then,
Since then, he quits every other day.
No, he gave up badminton since
no,
then.
it's at 16.
I figured
Since then, I gave up.
that's a pretty good shot, right?
Never touch
Since
badminton.
then,
I said that's the lesson learned. Badminton's gone.
That's right.
I said I have called.
So
This
anyway,
is proof positive. Badminton is bad.
one of those life lessons that you learn, and you don't learn it in school. You learn it the hard way. You look
How much
back
have
and
you
say,
done?
No, not much. It's all cool. So
That
at
was
any
a
rate,
great one.
have you ever had any?
Defining moment?
Can you look back and say,
Dad?
you know what I think? This is what. You know, have you ever had anything like that?
You know what?
I don't get paid Barbara Walters' salary.
I can't think of
And you never will.
where it was.
I bet you must have, since Mom died, you have
World War
changed.
II.
I think, yes,
World War II.
it was
It was
when
at
I
night.
got hired at MIT. And I look back on it, when I got hired at MIT. That was a turning point. Things began to get better for me. Yes.
Oh, that's nice.
And since then, it's been continuously upgraded.
Did you just
But
move to Boston
I
then?
can't think of any sharp turns.
No.
Any point where suddenly I took a sharp turn.
Steady as she goes.
So I'll give you a few sharp turns that you took in life.
Good response.
One was when you had your collapsed lung.
Yes.
That was a sharp turn. Another was when
But
Mom
how did
died.
it affect him?
Oh,
That's the question.
Changed. Well, first off, the smoking went. I mean, but also you really did pay a lot more attention to people.
What's this?
When you had I don't think it was. I think it was pneumonia. You were in the hospital. I was a kid. I was maybe 10. I think you had a collapsed lung or
When
something.
he stopped smoking?
I remember.
When did you stop
You
smoking?
stopped smoking
I
then.
had a collapsed lung when we were living in Dorchester.
Yep, that was it.
Yes.
I had one. You had one in Melrose too.
That was pneumonia.
I had pneumonia.
That was pneumonia.
Okay.
But that was
Had
a
pneumonia
change.
a couple
When
times.
Mom died, that was a big change.
That was the turning point.
That was yes. I would have to admit, when your mother died, that was a major change in my life.
How
I
did
was
it
always
affect you?
grateful for one thing, that all 5 of you, David included,
Could drive a
had
standard.
mates, good mates to help you over. I don't know what's so funny.
Yes, that's true though, Dad. That makes a
To
difference.
help you over a rough time.
That's very
And I
true.
feel that was a rough time for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
where were you?
probably no rough.
Barry? Helping me through that time.
He was helping.
I was there in spirit.
I'm teasing
I was there in
you.
spirit. See,
I'm
like,
teasing you.
Claire
the
was-
spirits are here tonight.
And
I gotta go talk to those spirits.
especially bad because Michael was giving her problems
Yeah.
along with her mother.
See, that was proof. That's true,
probably,
Dad.
I'll
That's
give
very
you, I'll
true.
give you
So
another change.
having a
Turning point.
spouse.
Another turning point for you is when we moved out of Dorchester and off to Melrose. When we moved to Melrose, that was a big turning point.
You think? How do you
Absolutely.
figure? How do you figure?
That was a
Yes,
huge turning
because
point.
life got better.
Again, it's like a
Life
tennis
got
match.
better because your mother didn't like that wall, having to go down and get your bikes and take them up at night. That
Well, it was also a different lifestyle.
It was a better lifestyle, a substantially better lifestyle.
Yeah.
I'll
Absolutely.
have to agree,
I don't think Jim can.
I'm glad you point this out because I didn't think.
Point out some more. What about when I was
I'm
born?
on a roll.
You're doing a great job,
The
Richard.
big turning point.
That was a slide downward, but they recovered.
How about Blip when we got
Clear.
there?
How about that?
Blip was that?
Battery
Flip on
died.
the screen.
153 minutes, 158 minutes. Ask, all right, I'm the person prompting
Yeah.
Barbara. Dad, talk about maybe turning points
W's.
that you saw with your kids. What points did you see when you saw your kids change dramatically? I'm focusing in on that lamp.
Susan
I was-
does this better than me.
Here, have some more of your hiney.
So,
To me, I see it. Now, Richard pointed out several things, a couple of things that I didn't see. But to me, it's just a natural flow of
Yeah.
one thing into another. Not any dramatic change at any given point.
Yeah.
So much as just naturally one thing flowed into another. But there was a turn, there were several turning. One was moving to Melrose, another was the death of your mother.
what about when like the kids moved out of the house? No big loss
What?
there. What about when the kids moved out of the house? Probably the last one to leave. That's been the hottest.
That was Mem. No, he said no.
What do you think the adjustment was when Mom died? Being alone, or did you consider yourself more independent?
I was,
You know, what I noticed is it became easier to make decisions around the house for yourself. You put the new heating
Oh,
system
yeah.
in,
Done a
did
lot
the
on the house.
insulation. Yeah.
I was, it was a very mixed time. My thoughts were very mixed. I was worried about you kids. I didn't feel I was a very good, confident that you had problems, you would come and talk to me or tell me your problems. But I was grateful. You all had good mates to
Yeah.
help you. And
Shipmates.
I saw Claire, when I look back on it, Claire was going through a bad time with Michael. But she never complained to me. She complained to anybody. She complained to her brothers and sisters. These are the things. And
What about when you were, you know, what's that book? Is it Tom Brokaw that wrote that book?
Yes, yeah.
The Greatest Generation?
Oh, yeah.
And they said it's so true. Nobody in that generation considers themselves American heroes.
Right.
Because you look back and you say, well, you know, everybody else's life is just like mine.
because there were a lot of people doing the same thing.
Yeah, but of your generation, but not of mine.
The-
I mean, basically-
My generation, there were a lot of men fighting on
Yeah.
the front.
Right, yeah.
I never, and all the time I was in the Navy, the guns were never fired once in anger. The guns were fired in practice
Yeah.
fire, but never in anger. And
Did you fire the gun on the side of the boat?
no, I was
No?
the
You loaded the
second,
bullets?
I was the second loader on a 40 millimeter.
Yeah.
I was scared silly because I was afraid one of the shells would drop on the deck.
Well,
and
how,
explode.
was this a gun, or how big were the shells?
40 millimeter is.
You pick the clip, the gun, the shells up in a clip of 4. You handle the first loader, he jams it down into the breech.
2-inch diameter bullets.
40 millimeter is
Almost 2 inches.
almost 2 inch, like Jimmy said. And I was just, and of course, I'm telling the kids, the others, that I'm scared of this thing dropping on the floor and exploding. They played that up for all of them.
Oh, yeah. Toss
You'd
one,
never
yeah.
do that, Joe.
Yeah.
Well, I know
Now
that
you know
now.
that now, right?
Never let him see us sweat.
Here's a question that actually Susan had. This is one of Susan's questions, Dad. If
on the
there
list.
were, if there was something that you would like your kids to remember, you know, throughout your life, throughout their lives, what is it that you would like to pass? I'll ask it in a minute. Here she goes. We'll pause.
Thank you, Dad.
Birthday.
On D-Day.
Oh, yeah, you can ask that.
We'll go back to that first.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Let's go back. Let's go back to the war.
Barry,
Yeah.
you walking away?
Where were you on D-Day?
Thanks.
What were the orders?
On D-Day. D-Day for, you mean, for Europe?
No, on June 6th.
June 6th, I was on the English
That was
Channel,
D-Day,
headed
right?
for, headed for France.
Yeah.
We arrived off the coast of France about 10 o'clock in the morning. That was,
So where were you, what were the orders? You were stationed at your gun?
yeah, you,
That's what Barry said.
what are you talking about?
Telling Richard to go sit down there so I can get him in the picture. Well, bring another chair down, so Barry can move stuff. No, that's good, because I'm not getting that anyway. Mind if I
The
sit?
gun crew, they each gun, half slept and half were awake. I don't know whether it was in another ship, I know what it was on my ship,
Have a great
that's
holiday.
all.
Yeah.
Take care.
Someone's supposed to outside.
Oh, common occurrence here,
Okay,
Aaron.
honey.
Take care of yourself.
See you later.
Joe, good to see you as always.
Good luck.
See,
Keep talking. This is important family history, you know.
Good luck,
See you later.
Marina.
Keep working on your artwork.
Oh, thanks.
Bye, Bob.
Just like zip around. She's
Thank you.
perfect.
Where are those children?
So you had told me once that you had to stay, your orders were, you stay at your gun for 2 days. You stayed at your gun for 2 days.
Yeah.
And you were allowed to go and sleep, but that was it.
They were worried about night, and they wanted us on the site at night.
Yeah, you worked your way.
When things
Yeah,
happen,
yeah.
started to happen,
Right.
like just,
Megan's,
we'd stand up and we were at a battle station.
no,
Yeah,
she's doing, cheerleading. They're going to Florida again.
That was-
Yeah, for the,
I thought it was cold on the English Channel.
No, she does more.
Raw.
Yeah, it
Jill
was.
does,
Yeah.
St. Mary's basketball.
The
Okay,
thing I think that
and they do
impressed me
both the
about
competitions, but it's like different
that
competitions.
period of time, those few days, was I'd look up in the sky at daytime and I could see flights of 40 to 60 planes.
Wow.
Mostly I would assume B-17s flying overhead.
Wow.
They were, I don't know how many flights
Where were you?
on the English Channel.
On the English Channel? Oh,
headed
going
for,
over?
France.
Okay.
And
Where'd you land? Or where did you go? Omaha?
Beach.
the beach was, as I remember, Utah.
Was it Utah?
But it was not a naval engagement. Normandy was not a naval fight.
No.
Normandy was a beach fight.
Right.
Those
Army and Marines.
Army personnel,
Yeah.
the general in charge, the commanding officers, said I may have to retreat. And he wasn't sure he was gonna make it. But late in the afternoon, things began to turn around. It was, but it was,
But you were at Utah?
I think so. Utah, it was a tough beach, but it wasn't a
Yeah,
naval
it's
fight. It was,
Not none of the naval fights, really.
what?
From
None.
Omaha,
No.
Juneau, Utah.
The
none.
Atlantic was not naval engagements. The big naval engagements were in the Pacific.
Yeah, because we're probably.
What was the question that Susan had?
Well, it was a terrific question. It was, what are the 3 things that you would want your kids to remember, either about your life or remember to have a good life? What would be, what are the 3 things that come to mind? No pressure. Sonny had a great answer for this.
What 3 things would I remember?
Or what would you like your grandchildren to remember? Maybe about you or about the family or whatever you like.
I don't know.
Well, think about it, and as we talk,
I think the big thing is, I would want them, hope they remember in a positive way, their cousins, their uncles. They remember each other, the other members of the family in a positive way. I would hope that.
that's a great, yeah.
My favorite toast is always continue in good health. And I remember one fellow telling me, he said, you are rich and you don't seem to realize it. You have good health, your wife has good health, and you have 5 children with good health. That's a lot. Well, it wasn't until probably the last 10 or 15 years that I realized that is a lot, big thing.
It's true.
Yeah.
You see people with lots of money, but they have lousy health. And what the money doesn't, it makes your suffering a little easier. But what else?
That's not a good trade.
It,
Well, going back to, you told Jimmy earlier, Jimmy had said, what would you do differently? I have to sit on that side because I parted my hair.
Sit right here, I'm gonna refill my drink.
I would like to,
I was joking about my hair.
You weren't.
Dad, Jimmy had said, what is it that you think was important that you've done in your life that you would,
Oh, I'm sorry.
you would do if you could live over again? What is it that you would definitely want to do?
I would like to exercise, I think.
Would have started that earlier?
I think exercise, if I'd done it earlier, a lot earlier, say started at 40 or so, I think it would have given me a much more positive attitude. I was never an athlete. I never an athlete in high school. But I would like to had a more positive attitude. And I think I see certain things. I look back. I think if I had a more positive attitude, I would have, things would have,
Yeah, so
Better,
having a
better.
positive attitude, and the exercise gave you that.
I think so,
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think so.
Yeah.
That is, if you're not sure of yourself when you're walking or you're climbing, you become very hesitant.
That's why I'm drinking.
In what, everything else you do.
Yeah,
And I think I really do.
yeah.
I don't know whether you realize it, but I think having the confidence in what you can do physically gives you a lot in your self-confidence.
Yeah, it's true. It's very
And
true.
I was, as you know, I was not an athlete. I told my fitness
You're an
trainer,
athletic supporter.
Yes, he is.
I told fitness trainer, I said, as an athlete in high school, I was a 0, and I'm telling it like it is. I was a 0.
Yeah, but you're exercising now.
What was the best thing you liked about Mom? That twinkle in her eye, the Wowie cake that she could make.
I gotta get something to drink.
You give me a Diet Coke?
Sure, whatever.
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
I was gonna ask you about the grandchildren too.
I'm sorry.
So think about all these things.
Think about all these
I was
things.
gonna ask you about, comment on the grandchildren. What are the special things? Because you often say, oh, you know, that Nathaniel, he does this, or Erin, boy, she's always out there writing the action. You have an opinion, a good opinion of each of the children.
It's
So I was
true.
gonna ask you to comment on that.
Yeah.
They're all good kids, every one of them. I can't, if I start mention any one, then I'm favoring that over the
Well,
other.
you could, what I'm saying is, talk about each one and say something in particular that you like about them. Of course, not leaving any out.
Of course, not leaving it here.
It's,
But, or you can answer the mum question, they're both tough. See, now Susan went here. That's what I thought about with Susan.
We have to get the whole 5 of us.
When-
I'm not sure, I don't wanna start on the individual
All
grandchildren,
right,
because I'm afraid that
you'll
will,
leave someone out, yeah.
well,
But
I
hey,
just don't.
Susan's not here, let's talk about her.
We'll
You know-
splice the tape together later and make it all seem right.
You know what I was thinking? I was telling Jimmy about when we went to see Teresa. And I was saying, gee, I wish Susan were there then, because she knows what to say all the time.
Yeah.
Well, Teresa,
Yeah,
I was, the thing that impressed me with Teresa, the room was clean,
yeah,
the bed linen was clean, her nightgown was clean.
yeah, she looked good,
She was clean.
yeah.
You go in some of these nursing homes, and